728-3009 or visit AIGdirect.com.
All right, new details today in the case of a Georgia toddler who died after his dad left him locked in a hot car. CNN has learned that the boy's father wasn't the only one who researched child deaths in hot vehicles. The child's mother did as well. And at Cooper Harris's funeral yesterday in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, his father, Justin Ross Harris, made an emotional statement by phone from the Georgia jail where he is being held on a felony murder charge. I'm joined now by Tanya Miller, defense attorney and former federal prosecutor, and Glenda Hatchett from the Judge Hatchett TV series. Good to see both of you ladies.
Good to be here, Fred.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so incrementally there are new things that are revealed just about every day. So Tanya, now when you hear that the mother as well may have researched this kind of what does it take for a child to die in a hot car, what does that tell you? Even though police are not revealing the sequence of events, we don't know when that search took place. What does that tell you, though, as an investigator, as a defense and prosecutor?
Yeah, well, I'd like to wear my prosecutor hat for this one, I tell you. Look, the fact that this was being researched by the mom and by the dad is a bad fact for them. That's going to be difficult for them to explain. If, and I'm saying if because we are very early in the investigation and we don't know what law enforcement knows right now, but if the mom was somehow a part of a conspiracy or a plot to kill this baby and make it look like an accident, then she will be charged as a party to the crime under Georgia law. Absolutely. And that means she will be charged with murder just like the father is. She can be punished just like the dad is under law. They can get the same exact penalty, even if she wasn't the one who actually left him in the car.
And Judge, what's the information you still want to hear or investigators need to hear in order to get a complete picture as best they can, you know, before trial on what exactly may have happened here?
It'll be interesting to see if the surveillance tape in the Home Depot headquarters will show anything about what he was doing when we went out to lunchtime. When he got into the car, did he put something in the car? What was he doing in the car?
Because what we know in terms of the sequence of events, after getting to work, parking the car, going into work, and then coming out, unclear why, and then going back to work before, hours later, leaving for the day.
And I will tell you, they may be trying to get in front of this by saying that they researched this to say that they wanted to avoid it. It makes it worse, actually, to say that they went on the internet to research this and saying that they wanted to avoid this happening to their own child. You would seem that you would be that much more sensitive. The other thing they're going to be looking at is the surveillance tape, if any, at Chick-fil-A, and looking at what happened in the pattern. And then they're going to actually time the time it took him there. We know that that's a very short time.
Martin Savage did that, and it was under 5 minutes, half mile.
Actually, it was under 3 minutes that Martin did it. I remember seeing that. And so there are going to be a lot of pieces that the police, but I think the most damning part of this is the fact that these searches have happened on the internet and both the mother and the father. It could very well mean that the father will be charged, she will be charged, I agree absolutely with Tanya, but they may do a plea deal with her for exchange for some information about him. That could happen.
Right, but let's remember, we're still very early in this investigation. There's really two big categories of investigation that law enforcement is probably doing right now, but certainly they'll need to do before they charge. One, they're going to have to look into the background of this guy, his relationship with the baby. Were there any other instances of abuse or neglect? What did the baby...
What if, as we've noticed so far from the funeral and leading up to it, so many people who know, you know, this family, who feel like they really knew, you know, Ross was saying he was an upstanding, you know, father. The mother even says to, you know, folks at the funeral saying he is a wonderful, she says he was and is a wonderful father.
Well, that's what they're saying now, but you've got to dig deeper. They've got to take a deep dive. Well, how did he present at daycare? Other individuals, adults who are outside of the immediate family, is there going to be any information from neighbors or other people who interacted with the baby to contradict that? They're going to have to dig deep. They're going to have to look at other internet searches. When did they do this internet search? What was the context of it? Is there some innocuous explanation? Or did they do it very soon before this death happened? All of those things are going to factor in. And they're also going to have to look very closely, right, Judge, at what happened on that day.
What happened
From the time he got up to the time he jumped out of that car yelling.
How he was even conducting himself even at work.
Absolutely.
And also, what was his routine? This was the man, I think, was the primary caretaker in terms of taking the child to the daycare. So that this was
the premises
of his work. And also, they're going to be looking to see what really happened after he left work, too. They're going to go back to all those witnesses in that parking lot. And all of this really is circumstantial because he says it was an accident. They've got to build a strong case because the state has the burden of proof to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this was not intentional. Murder has to have intent.
So he is in jail, you know, pending his charges, of course, in trial. But the mother has not been charged. No. However, it is likely, I mean, help us understand how she is being watched, examined, how even she is being investigated, even though we haven't heard anything about charges.
All of the subpoenas, we know that they're going to be looking at cell phones. Were they talking back and forth several times during that day? Did they talk after he went to the car? They won't know exactly what was said.
Because that search warrant did include cell phones, computer
internet,
use,
their homes, the car. What was going on there? And so they're going to ask him, when you came out, what did you put in the car? What did they find in the car? All of that's going to be very, very important.
And they're going to ask these questions, even though they can discover it for themselves, but then you want to match the consistencies or inconsistencies of what's saying said verbally and what's documented.
Because remember, Fred, anytime a child of this age is murdered, statistically, it's the parents, it's the mom, it's the dad, it's somebody close to the child. So they're going to look at that mom very closely, just like they're looking at that father.
Wow.
And I wouldn't be surprised if both of them aren't charged. I wouldn't be surprised if she is charged, whether that might be a deal with her for evidence in exchange.
Wow, incredible. All right, thanks so much, Tanya Miller.
Death penalty
this
in
is
Georgia.
a death penalty case, potentially?
This potentially is a death penalty case, absolutely.
All right, Judge Glenda Hatchett, Tanya Miller, thanks so much.
Good to be here. Thanks, Fred.
Oh, and